Hi, I'm Sharon Spangler. Welcome to this Council Connection. We're here at Reno City Hall with Council Member Dave Aiazzi, and we're going to talk about the Neighborhood Street Program. Some new changes this year. This is the first year of a 3-year accelerated program. Why did the Council think that was such an important move to make?
This is actually Councilman Pierre Hasheff's idea. Was if we were paying on a pay-as-you-go basis based on our gas tax and revenue, and he thought that if we bonded for it, we could get more work done and help us try to get ahead of the street program, some of the streets failing. So what we did that, we bonded for it this year, so we've got a lot more money to do streets. What we checked on first was, would the interest rate in the bonding, obviously you have to pay interest on a bond, pay for itself? What happens, because of the economy, we're getting such better bids right now. Spending $1 million this year is worth about $1.3 million in previous years. So we're getting that good at bids.
Wow, that's great because of supply and demand, and the construction industry is down right now.
Correct.
So you're able to get a bigger bang for the buck.
Any public job that's out there, we're getting better bids.
So that's kind of the positive thing in this downturn in the economy, and probably not something that you even were aware of when you made this decision.
Well, a little bit is we sort of saw something coming up, and this helps us keep some jobs going. I mean, there's a 13% unemployment rate, I think, in Washoe County, and a 20% unemployment rate in the construction trade. So all those little things help. If we can spend it this year and try to keep the Washoe County's economy moving, that's what we ought to do.
That's great. One of the interesting things about this accelerated program, it's really a departure from the traditional way that you did neighborhood streets in the past of doing overlays and reconstructs. Now you're doing a surface treatment. Maybe talk a little bit about that and why that's such a win-win for the residents in the neighborhoods.
Yeah, this is probably the most least understood part of the street program sometimes is people will say, why are you redoing that street? There's nothing wrong with it. In fact, what they found out is if we have done a complete reconstruct a few years ago, it makes it last even longer if in a few years you go out and you put the small slurry seal on it. What it does is it fills up all the cracks and everything in the streets. That's one of the worst things that damages streets are the cracks, because water gets in there and it freezes and it thaws, and that makes the crack bigger and bigger and bigger. So if we can make it so cracks don't get into brand new streets, then they will last a lot longer. So that's probably the biggest thing. We do more preventative maintenance than we do actual street reconstructions now.
And it's my understanding that that seal that's put on the road really prolongs the life of the street about 10 years before it needs anything more serious, like an overlay or reconstruct.
Correct. What the good beneficial side of that too is we also see that by putting on the slurry seal, we get to look at how we restripe our streets a little more often. Do we want to put in more parking lanes or bike lanes or things like that? So it even helps us out in that regard if we take advantage of the situation.
It's been pretty interesting. I have a couple of numbers here. This summer you spent $16 million and 100 miles of streets. That's a lot of street.
That's a lot, and there's a map, maybe you can show it sometime, it's on our webpage if you want to go there, of all the street programs we're doing this year and what we've done in previous years. Like I say, this program really started in 1996. We knew at that point we were 20 years behind in the streets. We've really caught up with that now in the 13 years since then, and we're trying to keep ahead of everything. So now we're at the phase where when you redo a street, you can do the proper maintenance on it right from the beginning.
I think one of the other really interesting things about this accelerated street program with using this surface treatment is a lot quicker than doing a reconstruct or an overlay on a street.
Oh, they do it in one day.
It's amazing.
One day, maybe 2 days, because once they do the striping, they tell people to stay off the streets this day, and people come home and it's done.
Boy, that's so much more convenient than thinking about your street being ripped up for like a week.
Although we still have a lot of streets that need to be ripped up.
Right.
I don't want people to think that we're not still getting to those. Some of those will be in a complete reconstruct this year. We are doing some of those also.
Right, I think there were 30 reconstructs just in the Northwest area, along with the 500 miles of the special surface
Slurry
treatment.
seals, yes.
Yes. So that's great. And what is it, 9 years you're going to save, or accelerate your program about 9 years?
That's the hope. I mean, we added on a lot of streets during the last 13 years with the growth that we've had, so there's a lot more streets out there. We've also taken this program, we're doing it at the RTC level. It's also very confusing when you drive around town, you see streets ripped up. Some of them are RTC, which is the Regional Transportation Commission, some's the City of Reno. McCarran Boulevard now up in the Northwest is being done by NDOT. So there's a lot of different entities out there that are repairing streets.
Who's doing 7th Street?
7th Street is an RTC project, I believe. That's getting done. Robb Drive, and I believe that one's getting done as part of RTC now. It was done a couple of years ago. Now they're going up. RTC's got another big project up there. I'll remember the street.
Dave, you've been on the council for what, how many years
13
now?
years.
13 years. So you know a lot about what residents are concerned about. Where do streets fit in the scheme of things?
They're always at the highest. I mean,
That's what I
like
thought.
I said, we started this program in '96. That's the year I got elected. That's what I was told when I was knocking door to door the very first time, was streets, streets, streets. When we started going into our retreats and making things our priority, streets, I remember that first year was our #1 priority. We came back and we told the public, here's going to be our long-range plan. We've been able to do that. We've been able to try some new things out. We've got one of the world premier pavement testing programs here at University of Nevada, Reno.
I didn't know that.
And so they do some testing for us, say what to do, what not to do. I learned more about pavement, and I had the same concerns that people have. You know, they don't have these street problems in North Dakota, and it freezes there more than here. But the thing about North Dakota is it freezes once and it stays frozen all winter. The problem with Reno streets is it could freeze 3 times in one day.
Yeah.
It freezes and thaws and freezes and thaws, and that just makes those cracks get bigger and bigger and bigger.
So do you think people are pretty happy with what the city's doing with the streets?
Well, it depends. If your street got reconstructed and fixed, you're very happy. If it's not been done yet, you're not very happy. I think we try to show them there is a plan to do it and that they will be on the list and things are getting done, and you show them the big map of what has been done. When you can talk to people one-on-one, they sort of see the long-range plan. Everybody would like theirs to be done next year. The best thing I think the City Council has done is we've really stayed out of, honestly, in the 13 years, which streets get done. Previously, they used to sort of decide which streets got done. Now we just say, for one thing to make our dollars go longer, we said do them in one area at a time, so the contractors would give us better prices instead of scattered all out through the city. So it sort of goes like a clock around. It's northwest this time, and it'll go a clockwork around the city. So once it's done there, it might not get done for 3 more years until they're back in your area again. We get a lot better bids on that, and you don't hear the council members saying, well, wait a minute, I want this street put on the list. We try to do it with, let our street crew decide which ones need to get done, and that's where we pretty much let it sit.
Well, I think residents in Northwest Reno can really see the difference, and it adds so much to the curb appeal of a house up there, too.
It sure does.
Well, thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
It's always a pleasure to have you on. You're always a wealth of knowledge. And thank you all for joining us on this Council Connection.